The NBA is back. Preseason starts this Friday, December 11th. The regular season tips off on Tuesday, December 22nd, and our top two NBA cappers have an unheard of special. Both Hakeem Profit and Rob Veno have agreed to this huge discount. Hakeem Profit exploded onto the NBA scene in his first year here at WagerTalk. Rob Veno was dominating, picking up 168% profit by hitting 60% on 305 plays. Listen to this deal. Our NBA early bird price is $6.99. The NBA season ticket price was $8.99. But for the next 7 days, get Hakeem and Rob for only $4.99 each. No coupon needed. Just go to their homepage, click on which capper you want for the NBA season, or even click on both. Each only $4.99.
Teddy covers the Prez. Thank you all. You're watching a Wager Talk today. And Teddy, let's start right up the top with, well, this is our No Argument Friday. This is going to be a thing we do every Friday. We're not going to argue at all. We're going to just give each other kumbayas the whole day.
Okay, let's start with this. No, it isn't. Okay. I don't know how else to say it.
Teddy, it is our No Argument Friday, and you've already begun.
Yeah. You can't just state, okay, we're not going to argue today, and then start out. I'm confident that you're going to say something on the show that I'm going to have to correct you for, just like you have done for me. It's what we do. Arguing, yeah, we'll argue today. Sharp money's on the yes.
I will not argue with you. It's our No Argument Friday show. We got Rob Veno right off the top. Coastal Carolina, that game. I've already given it away. I'm so focused. Virginia and Virginia Tech, San Fran versus Washington and Andy Lang. We're going to talk some props. He's got 4 or 5 beauties for us, and he is just killing it in props. Last week, Andy was on the show, Teddy, 5-1 in his prop bets. And, of course, Ralph Michaels with the Friends of Ralph Smint. I want to get this out of the way because I told everybody today would be the big reveal on your life-altering situation. Somehow you heard about what I had planned, and I went too far. I admit it. We're not going to do it. It's my fault. You have politely asked me to not do it. And given that it is our No Argument Friday, I will honor your request, Teddy.
Yeah, look, bits are funny, okay? And one of the things that this show does that so many of the sports betting shows that are flooding the marketplace now does not do is we try to be fun and funny. And I think some shows, at least many shows, were able to do that. But it's not about making anyone look like an ass clown. And I put the kibosh on your concept of making me look like an ass clown. So you can come up with something new for next week. And I'm sure you will. But not this one.
Sorry, Noah. I had a bottle of champagne ready to cork it to celebrate your life-changing news. And guys, I do apologize. My idea went a little too far. Welcome to Apology Friday, Wager Talk today. Teddy, lead story, Patriots out. They're not going to the playoffs. And man, they looked really bad last night. Just wow. It's interesting. You know, Josh McDaniels went from offensive coordinator for a dynamic offense with an incredible quarterback to a guy who just tells Cam Newton to pass the ball to running backs. That offense was abysmal last night. And you know what? A dynasty has come and a dynasty is gone, and it'll happen again.
That's the longest dynasty in sports that I can remember. All right. The Yankees were great for a long time. All right. I know the Celtics were great for a long time, and the Lakers in the 80s and all of that. The Patriots did it for 2 decades. Okay. I mean, they really have. And not that they're officially eliminated. This isn't a ding dong, the witch is dead moment. But New England not only needs to win out, they have to win their last 3. They'll be dogs quite possibly in 2 of those games. And they'll need multiple teams above them to lose. Right now, they sit 10th in the playoff standing. They're a game and a half behind the 9 seed Baltimore and the 8 seed, the Las Vegas Raiders. And of course, this is a year with 7 playoff spots for each league. It's not going to matter for New England. You know, they need, and stranger things have happened, but they need a miracle. Patriots are not, and look, they're not a playoff team. I mean, you know, you can beat the Chargers when your special teams goes, but one of the things we talked about in the big game breakdown yesterday was that New England's offense, even though they put up 45 points, they gained 4.4 yards per play. The week before against Arizona, they had 3.7 yards per play. It's an offense that it wasn't working, and it didn't work. I mean, they moved the ball last night. They just, when they got in the red zone, they couldn't do anything with it. On fourth down, they couldn't do anything with it. And they have a quarterback and a passing game that is very limited right now, and will continue to be for the rest of the 2020 campaign.
Awesome stuff, Teddy Covers. You can find him at WagerTalk.com. Me, the Prez. A nice call on the under yesterday, Teddy, in your big game breakdown. I had the Rams as my play. It was just a beautiful game all around. I texted Matt. Matt, I need some props for tonight. He gave me a few. They won as well. Teddy, no argument Friday. We've started off great. You've only had one little blimp. Other than that, let's bring Rob Veno in. Robert, how are you feeling today? And maybe, look, I'm good seeing only half your face. Rob.
Yeah, I don't
Joe,
know.
No, that's the wrong way.
Joe,
buddy.
help me out.
Adjust you. Rob, we have
What's he
a
saying?
producer. Joe will make the adjustment. Oh, Rob, you're not even listening.
Yeah. Just leave the
and
camera,
that's
buddy.
That's the end of Rob Veno. It was good stuff, Teddy. I mean, the
there you
analysis
go,
on the
Joe.
San Fran game was spectacular. Anyway,
right.
Take 2.
Rob, I'm glad you feel better. Excited to have you, man. We got a great promo to give out for you. We'll do it in a second. But let's get straight to it. Coastal Carolina playing Troy. I already told everyone you like the under. Why don't you explain why?
Well, we're looking at 51.5 in this game, guys. And part of it is that it allows that key number of 51 to cash a ticket for you. Now, if it tails down to 50.5 or 50, you probably go a little bit lighter. But here's the reasons why. For Coastal Carolina, the situation is obvious to everybody, right? You come off of the BYU win, the biggest win in program history, only to have the biggest game in program history lined up for you next week. So Troy is caught in the middle of BYU and the Sun Belt Championship game. Coastal has never won a Sun Belt Championship. So certainly this could be an instance where you just want to get out of Dodge. We had a game like this, guys, earlier in the year on this show featuring Notre Dame. I think it was before the Clemson game where they were heavily favored. It was kind of one of those type games. Just run the ball, get out of Dodge, keep the game under. I think Coastal Carolina is in that mode in this particular game. For Troy, different motivation, chance to wreck an undefeated season. For Coastal, let me be clear here real quick. While I say that it's a get out of Dodge type of mentality here, head coach Jamie Chadwell and this team don't give you the impression that that is ever their motive. Like pedal to the metal for this team all the way through. But I think with the big game on deck, injuries will be a concern. You don't want to get anybody hurt. Probably go in, get your win, and get out. Both defenses here, pretty good, but Coastal is tremendous. I have a hard time, guys, finding ways for Troy to score on this defense. Troy, a team that can't run the ball a lick. Troy, a team that depends on a very young quarterback to lead their passing game. Coastal Carolina happens to have one of the best pass rushes in the country as far as sacks are concerned. Overall, what they've now labeled as the Black Swarm defense, they rank 14th in the country overall. A team that stops the run, a team that stops the pass. So if you start right there with Troy maybe getting to 10 or 13 in this game, then you can work with Coastal. Guys, I think they're probably worth 30. Their offense is so diverse, so dynamic. But again, Troy's one of the better, and they've been one of the better Sun Belt defenses as of late. Last 4 games, I don't think they've allowed over 20 points. 6 of their 9, they haven't allowed over 20. The times when they did, it was against better opponents that were motivated, highly motivated. Just not so sure that Coastal is highly motivated here to get to 40. So for me, The key number of 51 helps. The defense of Coastal is a huge help. The situation helps. And I think Troy has enough defense to not let this get totally out of hand.
Sure. So my initial reaction, Rob, as you're talking about the game, is you like the under. Do we want to look at the underdog side as well in what might be a flat spot for the Chanticleers? But you're saying pretty clearly you don't think Troy's offense is going to be able to move the football a whole lot in this ballgame. You're worried about the Trojans' ability to score points, even if Coastal Carolina doesn't bring their A-plus game like they brought against BYU last week.
Yeah, it's funny, Teddy. In these games, generally speaking, and again, for the third time, I'll call it a get out of Dodge healthy type of game. But in these particular games, it's never really the defense that doesn't show. The sloppiness comes from, or the lack of motivation, energy, however you want to put it, generally comes from the offense. So for me, Troy's probably good enough to keep Coastal to 30-31. And as you said, I just don't believe Troy has proven it against every good defense that they've played. They've been unable to score. So to me, 10 or 13 is a lot. I mean, BYU only got to 17 on this team last week. And I know they travel cross country on short notice, but the gap between BYU's offense and Troy's offense is like night and day. So I'll take under 51.5.
Rob Veno, everybody. So good to have you back, man. I know you were a little under the weather last week. Guys, we got an incredible promo for Rob and Ski Profits. NBA starting preseason today. And Rob, your NBA season last year was literally off the charts. I mean, look, it's going to be hard to do 150% profit on a yearly basis in one particular sport. But if anyone can do it, you can. Guys, to let everybody know, we have an offer for Rob and or Ski in our promotion of the day. Basically, the bottom line is you get their entire NBA season for $499 instead of $899. That's $400 off the regular price, Rob. You want to tell us a little bit about your NBA season, why you're so good at it?
Yeah, I think, and the NBA, guys, and Teddy will testify to this too. It may be one of the most difficult sports to handicap. I mean, the every day waiting for lineups to be placed, wondering who's going to play, who's not going to play, sort of like what we're in with the COVID situation here. But I got into a groove last year, guys, where totals were concerned, and it just kept rolling. What I saw stayed steady for the entire year through the playoffs, even despite the layoffs. So I'm hoping to be right on top of that once again this year and have that roll continue. I think got a real good jump on it. Me and Ski will be doing a preview show on Monday in the afternoon. So for those who would like to tune into that, for sure, you'll get a little bit of our early season insights.
That's awesome stuff, guys. Again, head over to WagerTalk.com. NBA promotion, $499 for either Rob Veno or Ski. Both are just incredible. I mean, Ski just exploded off of the scene last year, and Rob, you kept pace all the way. So make sure, guys, to check that promo out. $499 for their entire NBA season. Teddy, I got to tell you, man, I mean, we're like 15 minutes into the show, and I know it's our no argument show, but I'm feeling a little just weird. Can you just argue with me just a little bit, just a wee bit?
We'll get there, but let's not force it. Why don't we find something to argue about, like when you say something stupid, and then I'll correct you and explain to our viewing audience why you said what your stupid information was hurting them and the appropriate way to respond to that, and then we'll go from there. But in the meantime, let's break down some games with our special guest, Rob Veno.
Well, how about the Virginia Tech game, rivalry game, Virginia +3. What do you like here, Rob?
Yeah, I like the Virginia side plus the 3, guys. One of the main things is just the fluidity that's existed for the Virginia team as opposed to the disarray that's been in the Virginia Tech program all season long due to whatever, the coronavirus to start the season, injuries and opt-outs after that. Hey, listen, Virginia broke this losing streak last year. They won for the first time in 20 years. So 1-19 against this team off of last year's win. certainly a lot of payback for the Virginia side here, 19 years worth. Opposite trajectories here, but there's an explanation for that, right? UVA is trending upward. They're 5-0 against the spread last 5, 4-1 straight up. Their only loss was to Miami, 19-14. Virginia Tech, on the other hand, 0-4 against the spread last 4. Offense has only averaged 16 points per game in their last 3. I think that schedule has a lot to do with those two numbers. Virginia's played a softer schedule. Virginia Tech's last 3 games were against Miami of Florida, Pitt, and Clemson, arguably 3 of the best defenses in that particular conference. But I still like Virginia based on the current personnel here, guys. The quarterback play is different here. Hendon Hooker, a guy coming into the season who played really good last year, has kind of tailed off down the stretch, while Brennan Armstrong, the QB for Virginia, has played tremendously well. Head coach Bronco Mendenhall said he's the key to all their offensive success, averaging like 43 points per game in their last 5. He's got more weapons around him at this point in time. Again, Virginia Tech, injuries, opt-outs, whatever, has kind of depleted them. They may even be without their top receiver, Trey Turner, in this particular game, which would hurt. I would just list the keys very quickly as this. Virginia's quarterback, Brennan Armstrong, is one of your top dual-threat QBs in the ACC, a league that's loaded with dual-threat quarterbacks, but especially his mobility and his legs are important here. Virginia Tech has struggled with every single one of these type quarterbacks they faced all season long. Even Trevor Lawrence ran for 41 yards against them last week, and he's not regarded as one of those guys. If on the Virginia Tech side, they're a run-dominated offense, run-heavy offense, I'll call them. But Virginia is the second best run defense inside the league, and total yardage allowed versus the rush, Virginia's 808 yards better than Virginia Tech. So a team that likes to run, a team that's without their top wide receiver threat, against a team that stops the run. And really, if you're going to beat them, you're going to want to go vertical against them. Don't know that Virginia Tech has those weapons right now. I trust Bronco Mendenhall, offensive coordinator Robert Anai, a little more than I do Justin Fuente and his staff right now. A lot of rumors about him maybe being on the way out. So give me Virginia +3 in a rivalry game. I know you could say Virginia Tech has revenge from last year, but I got to count the 19 years of revenge that Virginia still has left in that thing. So while they're better, while they're on top, I'll take the 3.
Rob, I want to ask, because this point spread to me stood out like a sore thumb, and just about everyone I've talked to all week has been, why is Virginia Tech holding at -3 in a game where many people think Virginia should be favored?
It's a great question. The simple answer is somebody likes Virginia Tech, right? Honestly, from a fundamental standpoint, I don't know. Now, last week, I'll say this. Virginia Tech went through 3 quarterbacks. Hendon Hooker left the game because it was too cold. How about that? Their backup quarterback, Braxton Burmeister, transfer from Oregon, left the game because he took a shot in the head, and they were left with their third-string quarterback. But both of the 1 and 2, Hooker and Burmeister, are ready to go this week. So perhaps it's holding because the quarterback play, is going to be there. But I have no clue in my breakdown why Virginia hasn't seen any money whatsoever. The power ratings aren't that far out of line here, TC. I show Virginia Tech as about a 2-point favorite. They're actually laying 3 here with power ratings. So if that's a starting point, you can go from there.
Rob Veno, everybody. Rob, your breakdowns are just awesome. I like you enough. With that said, they're really long. San Francisco, Washington. Do you think you're capable of keeping this game to maybe 40 seconds?
If I make Prez mad, Teddy, will you defend me?
Yes. Every time.
I got 40 seconds.
I would
Here,
kick
real quick.
both of your
Washington
asses
versus San
together,
Francisco. I'm going to do
Rob.
it in 30 seconds for Prez real quick. I think the matchup works way better for San Francisco this week than it did last week, right? Buffalo had some things that San Francisco couldn't contain, namely Josh Allen. His arm talent, his size, his run ability is far more than what Alex Smith brings to the table. Washington, they lose Antonio Gibson, their top running back last week. It's nice to do it, to come through in a game where you lose him during the game. To not have him for the entire game, I think, is a big deal here. San Francisco's offensive line has the ability to protect against this fierce Washington defensive line. The only thing I worry about, guys, is 49ers in chase mode. If they're not chasing in this game, I think they'll win. Just think 2 weeks ago to that victory over the LA Rams. They're one game out of the 7th seed. I know Washington's got motivation. Frisco does too. I just think the fundamental matchup, to be real quick here, works way better for San Francisco than that Buffalo game did. And we know that these NFL games are all about matchups.
Yeah, Rob Veno, awesome stuff. We'll see you next Friday. Real quick, everybody make sure, I mean, seriously, in all sports this whole year, nobody has been better than Rob in NBA. He's going to do it again. He's done it year after year. I mean, you're like 15 years deep into this industry, probably longer. $400 we took off of the package. $4.99 over at WagerTalk.com for Rob's NBA season. Do you have anything to promote?
15 years ago, I was 15 years deep into this industry, so
Yeah.
Rob Veno,
time. But yeah, NBA.
real quick,
Teddy,
Rob.
no arguing.
Go ahead, Teddy. Go.
No arguing.
I'm just going to say, when I moved to Vegas in 1998, Rob Veno was already established as a legend and so Rob's not a 15-year guy. Rob's a 30-year guy. He's Koken-esque, I think.
I didn't want to age the guy. He doesn't have any gray hairs. People might still think he's in his 30s. Get out of here. We're right back. Teddy's Bad Beats, Andy Lang, Big Game Breakdown, Netflix suggestion from the Prez, and Ralph Michaels.
The NBA is back. Preseason starts this Friday, December 11th. The regular season tips off on Tuesday, December 22nd, and our top 2 NBA cappers have an unheard of special. Both Hakeem Prophet and Rob Veno have agreed to this huge discount. Hakeem Prophet exploded onto the NBA scene in his first year here at WagerTalk. Rob Veno was dominating, picking up 168% profit by hitting 60% on 305 plays. Listen to this deal. Our NBA early bird price was $6.99. The NBA season ticket price was $8.99. But for the next 7 days, get Hakeem and Rob for only $4.99 each. No coupon needed. Just go to their homepage, click on which capper you want for the NBA season, or even click on both. Each only $4.99.
It's time for Bad Beats, Bad Bets, and Bad for the Books. A little recap of what happened in the sports betting world last night. And we got to start with the one that I was involved with last night. I had Pitt minus a touchdown against Georgia Tech. And I don't even know what to call that game. I think it was all 3. All right. It was a really tough beat for Georgia Tech backers. All right. Pitt was just trying to run out the clock. And instead, they score another touchdown after all those field goals and then convert the 2-point conversion as well. Certainly a tight game at the end turned into a 2-touchdown game when Pitt, all they wanted was another first down. That wasn't good. Then Yellow Jackets had plenty of time. They marched down to the red zone. The quarterback got knocked out, and the backup couldn't convert on 4th down. Yeah, Yellow Jacket backers, you could say that was a pretty tough beat. It was equally brutal, perhaps, for over bettors, 54.5, 55. Lands 54 after the made 2-point conversion. But Pitt had ample opportunities in the red zone and kept settling for 3. And, of course, at the end of the game, Georgia Tech did not get into the end zone, which killed all of those over bets. That wasn't a good result for bettors. And then, of course, bad for the books. There was nothing but Pitt money in that ball game. Minus 6.5 up to minus 7.5. Panthers win by 14. So in one game, a little bad beat, a little bad bet, a little bad for the books. College football action on Thursday. And that was a sweat. Didn't matter what you had. You were sweating out that 4th quarter. Bad bets. Let's see. Oh, boy. Let's see. They bet Florida Atlantic against Southern Miss last night, minus 7.5, 8, up to 9.5 by kickoff. They lost outright to Southern Miss, despite a +2 turnover margin. And Eagles, Golden Eagles had 8 penalties for 83 yards. And Florida Atlantic still lost the game outright. That's a bad bet. They were betting with Missouri, Kansas City yesterday, plus 19.5 down to plus 17 at Minnesota. The Gophers are good this year. They won by 29. Wise guys had that college basketball game all wrong. And then there was another college basketball game I think they had even more wrong. Oregon State. Tons of money for the Beavers last night. Minus 13.5 up to minus 16.5 against Portland. They lost that game outright as 16.5-point favorites, 87-86 in overtime. Bad for the books? Well, I don't know that the NFL game was real good for the books last night. There was nothing but Rams money. There was nothing but under money on game day. The end result, not good for the house side or total. And the total was particularly bad. Nobody bet the over last night. Under. The under cashes with plenty of room to spare, as do the Rams. So side and total bad for the books in the NFL last night. College hoops, nothing but San Diego State money at Arizona State. Sun Devils, they opened -4.5. They closed -2. The Aztecs now, you can call them a first-place team in the Pac-12. They've dominated Pac-12 competition. They've looked really good. San Diego State wins that game 80-68. Bad result for the house. And, I guess you can call this one a bad beat, too. It was a bad beat for underbettors. 75-55, 130 with less than 3 to play. Blowout city. Those games are supposed to end quickly. Offense dies in that spot. Except that Arizona State kept hitting 80-68 final. Sneaks over the total on the last Sun Devils 3. Yeah, that was a tough beat for underbettors. There you have it. Bad beats, bad bets, and bad for the books. Back to you, Prez. Let's get into some props for football action this weekend.
Teddy, while you were, you mentioned the word Sun Devil, and all I thought to myself was, you're not one. You are the palest guy ever. I mean, you literally live in Las Vegas.
Lawrence, I have the same skin tone as you. I literally do. I'm not pale in the slightest. What I have is a light on me when we talk, and sometimes it makes me look a little pale. No, I have the same olive skin. I'm not a pale guy. I'm not at all. And I'm not now.
Pasty to me, and I feel like that was an argument. It's Don't Judge Friday. I'm not judging.
Whatever. When you're like, oh, you look so pale. It's like, yeah, guess what? You look like you're on death's doorstep, dude. You don't look into the camera when you say, what? Hey, welcome to WagerTalk Today.
Oh, we're going there on No Argument Friday?
No, we're not.
Anyway, want to welcome everyone into the chat room. Eric, Gordon, Ty, Birdie, Carmine, Bianco, Big Daddy, Nick, Gordon, Tuck, Adam. We love all of you guys. We can't thank you enough for taking time out of the day to be with us. 340 of you in the chat room, 83 likes. Thank you to all you guys who gave us the thumbs up. Keep them coming. And make sure when you guys watch this archived show, just throw a comment up for our YouTube algorithm. Keeps us moving up the charts. You just need to put the word comment. I don't care what you write. Teddy, real quick, I know you don't care when I go off topic. You get all annoyed and frustrated, mad and angry. Look at you now. Just, sitting there thinking, is he going to get on with it? Why is he droning on?
It's a Friday show, dude.
About anything at all.
Football Friday.
Anyway, bottom line is, guys, I know you like my Netflix suggestions. I am watching Kingdom. There are 2 series on Netflix called Kingdom. I'm watching the one with Nick Jonas. It's an MMA series, 40 episodes. Absolutely spectacular. Now we will bring Andy Lang in. He is as cool as you could get, and we get to talk props. Andy, welcome to Wager Talk Today. It's No Argument Friday. Teddy has not been paying any attention to that rule. How are you, my friend?
Oh, doing great, man. Already researching props for the weekend. Got some lined up that I absolutely love. I gave you guys all my best stuff on the show, and then I realized I didn't have much for my clients. So, but hey, we went 5-1 last week for props. So, any winning week is a good week, right, guys?
You're allowed to give client plays out on air without any question, and something we try to do. It's the free plays. Yeah, they're nice. Client plays are good too. No one's going to complain. And your clients aren't going to complain if you go 5-1 and you gave the stuff out on air either. So all good, man. Let's see if we can do it again.
Andy Lang, 5-1 last week in your props, 7-1 in your 5% plays. Kudos to you, bro. We told everybody you had one, and it won. So just way to go, man. But let's get into it. I'm going to start with a prop that I have literally bet every single week without anybody's advice but my own brain. Kelsey, over in receptions and yards. This has just been gold from start to finish. Tell us why to take this one this week specifically.
Yeah, you have to be careful when you get these guys like Kelsey, Tyreek Hill, Kittle when he's healthy, because you get big numbers. But here's the thing: I did some research. In games decided by 8 or fewer points, Travis Kelsey is averaging 8.5 catches a game for an average of 102.5 yards a game. So when the game is close, Mahomes just goes to his security blanket, Travis Kelsey. The Dolphins have not lost by 8 points since week 1. All their games have been close. Dolphins have good stats against tight ends, but they really haven't played anyone of note except for a banged up George Kittle. The books have this line at 7.5. So they're telling you they expect this to be within that 8-point range. The Dolphins have been very, very good, a real surprise team. So I expect a close game. I expect Mahomes to lean on Kelsey. I would look at overs for his yards, his receptions, and possibly a touchdown.
Yeah, and I love that play, Andy. And, I think, and I mentioned this to Teddy on Monday, I feel like Kansas City's playing a bit possumy, if you will. And I feel like when they go up, they do slow the game down. Miami's corners are unbelievable. I think Kelsey's going to have a big, big day inside of that slot. I think that's really Miami's real weakness on defense. So I just absolutely love that pick. I'll give you one more, and then Teddy will take over. Cardinals, what do you got for us?
So in 7 straight games, the Giants have not allowed over 10 points in the first half to opposing teams. Since Kyler Murray's shoulder injury, the Cardinals have not scored over 10 points in the first half. Giants defense has held teams to under 20 points total in 4 straight games. They ran the ball for 190 yards last week against the Seahawks, last week against the Rams. The Cardinals had the ball for 21 minutes the week before, 25 minutes. The week before that, 25 minutes. So they are getting crushed in time of possession. They're not holding the ball. I'm going to look for the Giants to run the ball a lot, especially if Daniel Jones is out again. I'm going to look to play the Cardinals under their first half team total. I think I saw it at 12.5. I think they're going to struggle to get over 2 touchdowns in the first half.
We're seeing a change in roles for the Minnesota Vikings this week. They've been big home favorites each of the last 3 weeks. They failed to cover any of them. And tight games. They lost to Dallas and then back-to-back barn burners over the past 2 weeks. This time around, we're seeing Minnesota as an underdog and as a fairly big underdog in Tampa Bay. What does that mean for Kirk Cousins' production this Sunday as opposed to recent weeks? What do you like with Kirk Cousins and his props this week?
Well, anytime you're betting on Kirk Cousins, you're playing with fire. But he's thrown for over 292 yards the last 4 games. In fact, the last 3, he's gone for over 300. And teams have figured out you just cannot run on Tampa Bay. They only allow 63 yards rushing the last 3 games, but you can throw on them. They're giving up 318 yards passing a game. The last 3 games, teams are only rushing the ball 18 times against the Bucs. Teams have figured out you can't run on them, but you can throw on them. So I would look for Jefferson and Thielen to have big games, but I will probably be taking Kirk Cousins and his throwing over total.
Sure, and there's with Kirk Cousins, not just in the betting market, it seems like in the general public, there's an unwillingness to accept the season that he's having. Kirk Cousins over the last 7 games is the best quarterback in the NFL statistically, bar none. Have you seen that? Are you willing to believe in Cousins yet, or do you think still you got to tap the brakes when Kirk Cousins is getting on a roll because of some past history for this guy and some struggles that he's had against better defenses?
With props, we're just looking at stats. We're only looking at stats. So I'm not going to trust Kirk Cousins in a big game to throw the game-winning touchdown, but I'll if the trend says he's throwing for a lot of yards, then I'll keep betting it. I expect him to throw a big interception late in the game, but it could be when he's got 350 yards. So when you're looking at props, you're not really looking at the overall big picture of how a guy performs in the past. You're looking at how they're doing right now. And right now, Kirk Cousins is throwing for a lot, and expect the Buccaneers to really, really take Dalvin Cook's rushing out of the game. So listen, I'm not going to bet on Kirk Cousins for MVP or to win a Super Bowl, but I am going to bet on him to throw for some yards.
Speaking of throwing for some yards,
Teddy, you
Speaking
go
of throwing
ahead,
for
bro.
yards, I know that's what you said. You said I'll ask one more question and then you take it from here, which is exactly I'm
Oh,
doing exactly what
Andy,
you
He
told
did
me to
say
do.
that.
Andy,
on
I'm
He
Friday.
not
did say
even
that.
kidding
He
Hard to
said
you.
be
that.
Friday.
Andy, I'm not Teddy
Yeah.
enough. Andy, I'm not even kidding you. Teddy wants to argue with me so bad on No Argument Friday that in our Slack channel, he's literally arguing with me during the show. My God, you don't stop, Teddy. Go ahead. Ask Andy another question.
I will. Let's talk about the Packers and the Lions. And there's a fair bit of sharp support in the betting markets this week for Green Bay to take care of business against Detroit. You're looking at that a different way. There's someone you like to score a touchdown in that ball game. Who is it and why?
It's juicy, but Devontae Adams has just been a monster. He scored 11 touchdowns in his last 7 games. That's incredible. His TD prop has hit in 7 straight games. Detroit gives up 2 passing touchdowns per game. Detroit gave up 240 yards and 2 touchdowns to Rodgers earlier this season. And the Packers, they're moving the ball with their passing game. Aaron Jones only has 2 100-yard games this season. And in both those games, he needed a 75-yard run to get him over 100 yards. The Lions are the 27th worst pass defense. I'm going to guess that Rodgers makes note of that and gets Devontae Adams with another big game and probably into the end zone.
Andy Lang, everybody, you could find him at WagerTalk.com. He's as good as it gets. Andy, I'm told you have a surprise prop bet for us. I know nothing about it, nor does Teddy, but according to Joe in my ear, you do. So I have no doubt it's going to be something silly, which I appreciate. Teddy won't, and if it bothers Teddy, even better. Please go ahead.
Winning money is never silly. The best bet this year has been Lewis Hamilton to win his Formula One race. Everyone take Lewis Hamilton to win the Abu Dhabi Grand Prix. He's minus 167. It's because he wasn't fast in the first and second practices. It doesn't matter. He didn't race last week because he tested positive for COVID. George Russell came in, subbed for him in his car, led most of the race. He would have won if it wasn't for a random yellow and a horrific pit stop. Lewis Hamilton is so ticked off. He had a chance to tie Michael Schumacher's record for most wins in the season. He didn't get to do it because he missed it. He is going to whip his junk out and show it to everybody as he's crossing the line. He won this race by 16 seconds last year. Lewis Hamilton is going to sit on the pole, and he's going to win the Abu Dhabi Grand Prix early Sunday morning. You're welcome.
So first off, that was awesome. It was serious. I thought it was going to be something to do with Teddy and I. Secondly, I mean, is he going to hang his junk out the window as he passes?
He might. There's no windows in Formula One. There's no windows.
Lewis Hamilton, everybody, has hung like a horse. That is impressive stuff, Andy. I mean, is there a prop on his junk?
If there was, it might, but he's so mad and he dominates this track. And minus 167 is a gift.
Yeah, and you know what? I love that play also. I mean, look, Lewis Hamilton's just winning outright. One more to make
6 straight wins in a row. 6 straight wins in a row for him.
It's insane. It is absolutely incredible stuff. Andy, just like you, that segment was wonderful. Thanks, brother. Guys, we're going to be back with Teddy's big game breakdown and Ralph Michaels. Andy, what do you got to promote before we move to a commercial?
Well, 4:00 today, Matt Joseph is going to join me and Andrew McGinnis, and we're going to be doing our Prop It Up show. Promo code PROPS99. They just gave this to me. You get 30 days of all sports for $199. That gets you all my NFL props. That'll get you 2 more golf tournaments that fit in that window, which I'm 26-13 the last 39 picks, and I'm winning currently all of my picks this week in the Europe event. And that is also going to get you NBA props when that starts December 22nd. I will probably have those every day. It's a hellacious deal, $199 for 3 days. Just use the promo code PROPS99.
I take it you'll be so happy you might pull out your junk
and show it.
Get out of here.
No
Junk Talk Friday. We're right back, everybody.
The NBA is back. Preseason starts this Friday, December 11th. The regular season tips off on Tuesday, December 22nd, and our top 2 NBA cappers have an unheard of special. Both Hakeem Profit and Rob Veno have agreed to this huge discount. Hakeem Profit exploded onto the NBA scene in his first year here at WagerTalk. Rob Veno was dominating, picking up 168% profit by hitting 60% on 305 plays. Listen to this deal. Our NBA early bird price was $6.99. The NBA season ticket price was $8.99. But for the next 7 days, get Hakeem and Rob for only $4.99 each. No coupon needed. Just go to their homepage, click on which capper you want for the NBA season, or even click on both. Each only $4.99.
It's time for today's big game breakdown. Let's talk a little national TV college football action. I'm going to use a noon kickoff on the East Coast for Saturday, 9 a.m. here on the left coast. That's Michigan State and Penn State, which has moved to national TV action after Michigan and Ohio State got canceled. Right now, the Nittany Lions, what are we looking at the WagerTalk live odds screen? They're sitting at 14.5, 15-point favorites. Total in the 46 to 47 range between the Spartans and the Nittany Lions. And let's start with this. I'm going to give you a couple of quotes from Mel Tucker. All right, first-year head coaches, their teams don't quit down the stretch. They have a bad performance. They tend to bounce back because the players who are still in aren't quitting on the coach or quitting on the team. It's a first-year coach. So last week, Michigan State, they were pretty bad. Of course, they played the Ohio State Buckeyes 52-12. The final score, they finished with 101 yards in penalties. Here's a quote from Tucker. Outings like this are not acceptable, and I don't care who we're playing. Even though that was a good team, when I turn on the film, I'm going to be sick to see some of the things that we did. Another quote. At some point, we'll be consistent. Michigan State's been wildly inconsistent this year. Their good performances have been good enough to blow out Michigan and beat Northwestern, the Big Ten West champ, and their bad performances have been pretty ugly. Tucker, at some point, we will be consistent, and we'll be able to play at a high level, and we'll be able to beat good teams. I'm looking for that to happen sooner rather than later. Read between the lines there. He's saying, guys, step it up this week at Penn State. Questions about Michigan State at the quarterback position. Rocky Lombardi got hurt last week, and we've seen money come on Penn State because of the concerns about Michigan State's QB. All right, we don't know yet if Lombardi's going to be good enough to go this weekend. I don't care. All right, Rocky Lombardi's not a great quarterback. He isn't. His backup, Peyton Thorne, took over last week and gave some life to the offense against Ohio State. He's a redshirt frosh. He hasn't seen a whole lot of experience, but he's a QB with every bit as much talent, maybe more, than the guy that he would be replacing. So QB makes no concern for me whether Michigan State has their starter or their backup on the field. Look, Penn State coming off their best game of the season last week, I should say. Against Rutgers, they were able to pound on the ground behind the offensive line. They were able to fly around in attack mode on defense. They handled that team. But 2 weeks in a row in this point spread range against a Spartan team that I think is going to show up, it's just too many points. Give me Michigan State plus the 14.5, plus 15. Anything at more than 2 touchdowns is worth putting in your pocket, like the Spartans, plus the point in Happy Valley on Saturday. There you have it, Prez. There's the big game breakdown. Now, let's bring in the pen.
Awesome stuff, Teddy. I love that segment. Great stuff, guys. Thank you all. WagerTalk Today, every day, 12 to 1 p.m. Eastern. Teddy and myself, we have different guests all the time, as you know. Thanks always for being with us. And, dude, yeah, it's the pen time. I want to know from Ralph. Ralph, let's start right off the bat with, do you like the nickname The Pen? Like, does it work?
Oh, sure. Yeah, you can't give yourself a nickname. So whatever comes up and whatever sticks is what you get. It's not, I'm not like the president can make my own nickname up. That doesn't happen. So I appreciate the nickname, Prez, and it's fitting because, just the quick story, because my stuff's pretty short. I'm going to mention back in the North Coast and Phil Steele days, we would have a phone that coaches would call in and talk about suggesting their players for awards because we voted for every committee. I had a Heisman vote. Phil had a Heisman vote. So there's coaches that would call in. So I always had a pen in my hand that anytime anyone called, I'm writing down notes from coaches. So I just got in the habit when you're watching football games and you hear an announcer say something, you write it down. Or, we used to listen on games on radio. Remember the sportscast where you could call in and dial a number and listen to games on radio and you're writing down notes. So, in the business the way it was and the internet was just starting, you were always scribbling down notes. So the pen's been in my hand forever.
Okay. And that is a really cool story. I love how you had a Heisman vote, Ralph.
Let me jump in real quick, Prez, just on that note, because when people talk about the Heisman Trophy, and again, mainstream media loves Heisman. And I've always called it the stupidest award in sports because the votes are just the votes are sent out to completely random people, many of whom don't watch any college football, and many of whom were on the wrong side of 80. So Ralph's vote would have been a good vote for the Heisman. It's a really, really dumb award. It really is. It's like popularity contest for the team that won the most games with their star player. It's nothing.
Teddy, it's no difference than the people that are voting for the APs that automatically move people up because they're undefeated at the beginning of the year. They have not even watched those teams play. But with that said, I'm going to give myself one plug. I have a 5% college basketball play today. Yes, whoa. I just had a 5% college basketball play on Wednesday. And let me tell you what. You cannot schedule when there's value. I'm 7-0 in college hoops. Things are going real well. You're reading the board well. You're making good picks. And when that happens and you fire away with value, hell, I don't care if you have a 5% 3 days in a row. If there's value and I'm going to bet a play for the max, I'm going to release it to my customers that way. So, yes, I have a 5%. Yes, I had one on Wednesday and it cashed. But this is the time you want to jump on someone. When they're red hot, when they're not concerned about what other people think. It's not a big sales day. It's not that I'm doing it to try to get promotions on a Saturday where there's a huge card. It's because there is so much value on this play today. It deserves to be a Ralph Michaels 5% college basketball play. And with that, yes.
Ralph, I just want to tell you, I'm not even lying. I didn't know you had one. I hadn't looked. I'm literally betting it right now. I'm in my book betting your play right now. Anyway, go on.
Two simple angles of the day, guys. The first, Army and Navy has gone under 14 straight times. Now, I want to say this. Every total except one by a half a point has been much higher than this. So while that value is gone, it still is something to remember. To me, you put Army and Navy in this game, I'm either betting under or the pass. And again, the under is hit 14 straight times. And I've talked about the Steelers under on the road how many times? When the opponent passes a lot as an away favorite. Steelers are 88.6% to the under when they're on the road and a total under 49. 4 overs, 31 unders, and 2 pushes. So 2 very simple plain angles, Teddy. The Pittsburgh one I put more stock in because the Army Navy is just something that's occurred and without any parameters to it. But your thoughts on either of those if you have any?
Sure. I have thoughts on both. Let me start with this. Army Navy, there's no way in hell I play the over in that game. That said, when this streak started, it's like they've changed what they're doing offensive in terms of offense philosophy. When this streak started, their total was in the 50s.
50s, yeah.
And now their totals are in the 30s. So that's not like the markets are asleep on that one. I want to ask you this question about the second trend. All right, with the Steelers. That total was 46/46.5 yesterday and got steamed up to 48. If it goes to 49, let's just say, does that mean you don't bet it? Or if you already bet it early? Or what do you do with that particular of a parameter where it's so close to that number now? You're saying at 49 or lower, when under 49. So even at 48, if it gets to 49, that doesn't apply anymore? Or what do we do with that type of information?
Teddy, our goal is always to get the best number. I actually got the worst number in this. I actually bet it early because it is one I like. So, my thought is this. The 49 is a parameter that when Vegas puts out a number, you have either a Pittsburgh offense that's performing well or you're playing a very high tempo, good opposite team. So I really base it on what the number is for the majority of the week. I'm not concerned about the 49 schematics. That was a little data mining. Had I just said Pittsburgh and taken away the 49, I think the record would have been two more overs and 4 unders. So it would have changed it to the 91% mark. So again, it wouldn't affect me as all, because that one I did data mine a touch just to get it down to a very wow number against the spread.
So that makes a ton of sense. However, if it's 2 and 4 when they're at 49 or higher, is that meaningful, or is that just too small of a sample size?
I looked at that. I looked at it, and it was high-powered offenses that they faced. Now, I don't put the Bills in a high-powered offense. Probably the only team right now, if I say, a high-powered offense, I think of maybe Kansas City and maybe Green Bay, and that's about it in my mind. So, it's how you look at it. There's another angle I have, Teddy, that's 1-21. When the Steelers are on the road facing an opponent that passes over 35 pass attempts a game. And there is no parameters on that. There is no line parameter, and that is 1-21. So anytime the Steelers are on the road, to me, it is either, just like Army-Navy, it is an under or it is a pass.
Awesome stuff, Ralph Michaels. It's time for the Friends of the Day segment.
It's not. I have one more situation, Prez, before I get back to you.
No argument Friday. You got to put it in a different manner.
Prez, I will be right back to you in 1 minute as you give us the Friends of Ralph play of the day. As I go over the situation, Teddy, I think I get a thumbs up on this one. The Washington football team, they are playing a 3rd straight road game, and they won their last as a dog. That's simple. Going all the way back to 1989, it's 29.4%. So, does playing 3 straight road games take something out of you? Absolutely. Does winning as a dog in the middle of those 3 games take something out? Absolutely. So, as simple as it gets, when a team is playing their 3rd straight road game and they're off a win as a dog, they have covered 29.4% of the time the last 32 years. Now, granted, it's only 51 occurrences because the NFL doesn't schedule 3rd straight road games very often. There's only a handful a year. But again, that number stands out to me, and it does make sense. Do I get the Teddy Covers thumbs up?
You absolutely get the Teddy Covers thumbs up for that. We heard Rob Veno talking about some of the reasons why San Fran is a good play this week. If you read Kyle Shanahan's quotes, you're going to see a whole lot of reasons why you might think San Fran is a good play this week. And now Ralph Michael comes in with the angle that makes sense, talking about how fading Washington is a good play this week. All of those pointing towards the San Francisco 49ers.
President Teddy, last thing, I promise. Dave Koken, Joe Ranieri, and I, every day, 10:45 a.m. Pacific, 1:45 p.m. Eastern, Monday through Friday, the WagerTalk College Basketball Tip-Off Show. We'll be adding more guests next week. I'll tell you what, guys, a lot of winners. You're going to learn a lot. It's a short, precise show. We knock off some top games. We go over the upsets. We go over the biggest covers. You'll learn a lot in a very short time.
Ralph Michaels, everybody. Okay, guys, we have only a couple of minutes left. I'm the Friends of Ralph segment, and I am going with the over in the Tennessee-Jacksonville game. Look, Tennessee, they've been running. Run. The Raccoon gets the ball all game long, yet they are 9-2 to the over. Tennessee, and Ralph, correct me if I'm wrong here, first team to have over 27 points on offense and allow over 27 points on defense. First team ever, or the only team this year. Jacksonville, almost 30 points on defense they're allowing. I think this game is going to go over. I think it's going to be a very high-scoring football game. Also, really quickly, guys, I got a 5% play up for Sunday in NFL. I'm on a 4-0, 7-2 NFL run, and my 5% plays are amazing. Ralph spoke about it yesterday. Coupon code Prez20. You get it for half price. As well, I want to wish everybody a happy Hanukkah. If it means something to you, it does to some of our other guests and co-hosts. So happy Hanukkah to all of my brethren. And as well, a correction to Teddy. The Pats are not the greatest dynasty or the oldest dynasty in history of sports. The New Zealand All Blacks are at like 80 years and still counting. As well, Pineda by Gianni, Lewis Hamilton by Andy Lang, Kevin Holland from LV Chris. Those are 3 plays that aren't in the core sports that we are suggesting you bet this weekend. Teddy, I love you. Ralph, you're the best. Take us home, brother.
We're not suggesting anyone plays anything this weekend. We're giving you actionable information. If you choose to play it, we wish you the best of luck. Thank you for watching our No Argument Friday show. Thank you for watching our No Argument Friday show. Enjoy the games this weekend. We'll be back Monday, 9 a.m. Pacific time, noon on the East Coast, right here with another episode of WagerTalk Today. Enjoy the games and good luck.
The NBA is back. Preseason starts this Friday, December 11th. The regular season tips off on Tuesday, December 22nd, and our top 2 NBA cappers have an unheard of special. Both Hakeem Prophet and Rob Veno have agreed to this huge discount. Hakeem Prophet exploded onto the NBA scene in his first year here at WagerTalk. Rob Veno was dominating, picking up 168% profit by hitting 60% on 305 plays. Listen to this deal. Our NBA early bird price is $6.99. The NBA season ticket price was $8.99. But for the next 7 days, get Hakeem and Rob for only $4.99 each. No coupon needed. Just go to their homepage, click on which capper you want for the NBA season, or even click on both. Each only $4.99.